Chosen one. Everyone involved is realizing karma is real, wishing they had left you alone, because consequences are arriving fast. The reckoning rearranges lives without your effort. You keep breathing, building, and staying clean. They keep unraveling. That contrast is the lesson. Remember this moment. You didn't chase justice alone. That person thought they were attacking a regular human being. But what actually happened was far more significant. They tripped a spiritual alarm system, an alarm that's been lying dormant since before you were born. You see, there are souls on this planet who don't just live here, they're stationed here. You're one of them, and the second someone crosses that kind of soul with malicious intent, they create a cosmic filing, a spiritual record that can't be erased, buried, or explained away. When they plotted against you, when they laughed at your pain, when they twisted your words, something else occurred. They felt a chill, a hesitation, a voice in their gut screaming stop, but they ignored the warning, and that ignorance sealed everything that's unfolding now. Because you weren't random, you were a test they didn't know they were taking. Every person who tried to destroy you was actually being evaluated by something they couldn't see, and they failed, spectacularly. You didn't just survive what they did, you absorbed it, you processed it, you transmuted it, and now that energy is sitting inside you like a loaded weapon you didn't even know you were carrying. Your silence wasn't weakness, it was you gathering data, it was you learning their patterns, it was you watching them reveal exactly who they were while you stayed 10 steps ahead without even moving. When people looked at you, all they saw was vulnerability. What they couldn't see was the frequency you operate on. It's ancient, it's connected, it's backed by forces that don't negotiate. And when they crossed you, they didn't just hurt your feelings, they violated an order they don't have the spiritual clearance to even comprehend. That's why what's happening to them now feels so precise, so targeted, so impossible to escape, because it is. You were never just a victim in their story. You were the catalyst for their awakening, the mirror that showed them exactly what they were, the test that exposed their true nature. And now the results are in, and they're failing in ways that feel personal because they are, not because you're cursing them, because the universe is correcting an imbalance they created when they touched what was sacred. Watch closely, because what's coming for them isn't random chaos, it's customized consequence, tailored specifically to match what they did. You're about to step into a level of power they couldn't touch, even if they spent their whole lives trying. But we'll get to that. First, you need to see what they're dealing with right now. What looked like your breaking point was actually your activation sequence. They celebrated when they saw you go quiet, when you stopped defending yourself, when you retreated into silence. They thought they'd won. They thought they'd broken you. What they didn't realize is that silence in a chosen one isn't surrender. It's recalibration. Oh, it's the sound of someone accessing power they forgot they had. Every moment you chose not to respond, you were actually downloading information. You were learning who was real and who was performing. You were watching them expose themselves without you having to do a single thing. And while they were busy celebrating their perceived victory, you were transforming. You were shedding old skin. You were upgrading your discernment. You were becoming untouchable in ways that would terrify them if they knew what was coming. Your restraint wasn't fear, it was mercy. You were holding back a level of truth that would have devastated them. You had the receipts. You had the witnesses. You had every reason to destroy their reputation, but you didn't. And they mistook that for weakness. They thought you were too scared to fight back. They had no idea you were too powerful to need to. Because here's the thing about real power. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need to defend itself. It doesn't need validation or revenge. Real power just waits. It observes. It allows people to show exactly who they are. And then it steps aside and lets the universe do what it does best. Balance the scales. You were the pause between their action and the consequence. You were the grace period they didn't deserve. Every time you walked away, instead of engaging, you were actually giving them one more chance to stop, one more opportunity to correct course, one more moment to recognize what they were really doing. But they didn't take it. They took your grace as permission to go harder, to dig deeper, to push further, and that decision is what's destroying them now. Not your words, not your actions, their own. Everything that's falling apart in their life right now is just their energy returning to them. Every lie is boomeranging back. Every betrayal is circling around. Every manipulation is manifesting as their new reality. And the wildest part, you don't even have to watch it happen. You're too busy ascending to pay attention to their descent. But trust me, they're descending fast, and there's no parachute for spiritual freefall. They didn't just attack you, they tried to steal from you. And not the obvious things, not your money or your possessions. They went for something deeper, your essence, your energy, your spiritual DNA. They studied you, they watched how you moved, they copied your mannerisms, they stole your ideas, they mimicked your style, and they thought they could just take what made you magnetic and make it theirs. But here's what happens when you try to steal sacred energy. It doesn't transfer, it corrupts. What looked beautiful on you becomes grotesque on them. What flowed naturally through you becomes forced when they try it. What elevated you starts dragging them down. Because spiritual gifts aren't transferable through theft, they're assigned. And when you try to wear someone else's anointing, it doesn't fit, it suffocates. Watch what's happening to them now. Everything they copied from you is backfiring. The confidence you had becomes arrogance in them. The peace you carried becomes emptiness in them. The favor you walked in becomes frustration when they try to access it. They thought they could duplicate you, but you can't photocopy an original. You can't download what's divinely encoded. And now they're walking around wearing a costume that's exposing them instead of elevating them. Every single thing they attempted to rob from you is now being extracted from them, not as revenge, as restoration. The universe is repossessing what they tried to steal, and the interest rate on spiritual theft, it's astronomical. They're not just losing what they took, they're losing what they already had, their own gifts, their own opportunities, their own peace. Everything is being liquidated to pay a debt they didn't know they were accumulating. And you're not even in that equation anymore. You're operating on a completely different frequency now, a level where their chaos can't reach you, a dimension where their energy can't touch you. You've been upgraded, elevated, repositioned. While they're scrambling to hold on to what's slipping through their fingers, you're receiving downloads they couldn't comprehend, even if someone explained it to them. This is what happens when you try to steal from the sacred. You don't just fail, you forfeit. If this message activated your knowing, hype this video to connect with more chosen ones on this journey. They really thought they could destroy your reputation. Whispering happened, gossip spread. They twisted your truth into something unrecognizable. They painted you as the villain in a story where you were actually the hero. And for a while it worked. People believed them. You lost connections. Opportunities disappeared. Your name got dragged through conversations you weren't even in. Truth has a frequency that lies can't match. And eventually, people start feeling the dissonance. They start noticing the inconsistencies. They start asking questions. And when they do, the whole narrative collapses. Because lies require maintenance. They need constant reinforcement, constant energy, constant performance. And liars always get tired of performing. Watch what's happening now. The same stories they told about you are being told about them, but this time the stories are true. The manipulation they accused you of, that's what people are experiencing from them now. The toxicity they blamed you for, That's what everyone around them is finally seeing, the chaos they said you caused. That's what's following them everywhere they go. They didn't destroy your reputation, they created a blueprint for their own destruction. This is the part that's driving them insane. The exposure isn't coming from you. You're not campaigning against them. You're not telling your side of the story. You don't need to, because their own actions are screaming louder than any words you could say. They're exposing themselves. Every lie is unraveling. Every manipulation is backfiring. Every mask is cracking. And all you had to do was step back and let them implode. You know what's even wilder? The people they convinced to turn on you are now the ones seeing through them first. The ones who believed their lies are now the most vocal about their deception, because when someone lies to you about another person, they're actually showing you what they're capable of doing to you, and eventually everyone figures that out. The same people who co-signed their attack on you are now experiencing their betrayal firsthand, and they're not as quiet as you were. Meanwhile, your reputation is repairing itself without you lifting a finger. People are coming back. They're apologizing. They're admitting they were wrong. They're seeing you with new eyes, not because you convinced them, because the truth convinced them, because your consistency spoke louder than their lies ever could, because your character proved itself when it was tested. And now you're standing on the other side of their smear campaign, looking cleaner than ever while they're drowning in the mud they tried to throw. The trauma was supposed to be your ending. The betrayal was expected to crush you. The loss was predicted to leave you powerless. They were wrong on every count. What people don't understand about chosen ones is this: pressure doesn't create breaking, it creates breakthrough. And every attack they launched was actually a key turning in a lock nobody knew existed. You started remembering things, not just from this life, from before. Ancient knowledge started surfacing. Your intuition sharpened into something that feels like prophecy. You began seeing patterns in people before they even opened their mouths. You started reading energy like it was written in bold print. You moved with a certainty that didn't come from confidence but from knowing. Deep cellular, undeniable knowing. You're not the same person anymore. And I don't mean that in some generic self-help way. I mean you literally operate on a different frequency now. What used to bother you doesn't even register anymore. Who used to trigger you can't even reach you anymore. Where you used to struggle now feels like you're walking through with codes they don't have. Doors are opening that have no logical explanation. Opportunities are appearing that you didn't apply for. Connections are forming that feel destined rather than random. This is your initiation completing. This is your spiritual DNA activating. This is you remembering why you came here in the first place. They thought they were attacking a regular person. They were actually attacking a divine assignment, and divine assignments don't get cancelled, they get accelerated. You're not recovering from what they did, you're ascending because of it. And the altitude you're reaching, they can't breathe up here. Their chaos can't survive at this elevation. Their manipulation can't function at this frequency. You've become untouchable, not in an arrogant way, in a vibrational way. You're operating on levels they can't access, even if they had a map. And every day you're rising higher while they're sinking deeper. They wanted to see you destroyed. Instead, they're watching you become indestructible. And that's the punishment they never saw coming. This is the moment everything changes. Right now, not someday, not eventually. Right now, because what's happening to them isn't building anymore. It has arrived. The invoice just landed, and the amount due. Everything they thought they'd never lose. This is divine justice in real time. And it's beautiful, brutal, undeniable. They're waking up to financial situations that make no sense. Money that was flowing has stopped. Opportunities that were guaranteed have vanished. Deals that were locked have fallen through. And they can't figure out why. They're checking their bank accounts like mistakes were made. There weren't. The universe is collecting, And it's not interested in payment plans. This is full price, due immediately, no exceptions. Their relationships are imploding in ways that feel coordinated. Partners are leaving, friends are distancing, family members are questioning, and everyone's seeing the same thing. The mask is off, the performance is over, the truth is visible, and it's ugly. People who used to defend them are now the ones calling them out. People who used to believe them are now the ones spreading the real story. The support system they built on lies is collapsing in real time. Watch their health, watch their sleep, watch their peace. All of it's deteriorating. Not slowly, rapidly. They can't rest. They can't think clearly. They can't shake the feeling that something's following them. Because something is. Consequence. It's been tracking them since the moment they crossed you. And now it's caught up. They're experiencing spiritual insomnia, mental chaos, physical manifestations of energetic debt. Their bodies are literally rejecting the frequency they're operating on because they violated something sacred. You want to know the craziest part? You're not even thinking about them. While their entire world is burning down, you're building, grieving. You've moved on so completely that they don't even cross your mind anymore. And that's what's killing them. Not just what they're losing, but what you're gaining. Not just their collapse, but your elevation, because it's proof, undeniable proof, that they were never the gods they thought they were, and you were never the victim they tried to make you. But here's where it gets even deeper, because it's not just them experiencing this karma, it's everyone who played a part. Every single person who contributed to your pain is now dealing with their own customized version of consequence. The one who spread the lies, watch their credibility evaporate in every area of life. The one who stayed silent when they should have spoken up, watch isolation become their new reality. The one who laughed when you fell, watch them experience public humiliation they can't escape. The one who turned others against you, watch their circle turn on them the exact same way. This is what makes divine justice so terrifying. It's comprehensive. It doesn't just address the main villain in your story. It addresses every supporting character who chose the wrong side, every person who co-signed the attack, every individual who participated in your attempted destruction. They're all getting personalized invoices right now, and they're all wondering the same thing. Why is everything falling apart at the same time? The answer is simple, because they all violated you at the same time. They all participated in the same spiritual crime. They all thought it was safe to attack you, because everyone else was doing it. Mob mentality felt like protection. Collective betrayal felt like validation. But what they didn't understand is that karma doesn't do group discounts. It charges everyone full price, individually, simultaneously, permanently. You know what they're realizing now? That you were the glue holding certain situations together, that your presence was the reason certain blessings were flowing, that your prayers were covering people who didn't even know they needed covering. You were a walking blessing to everyone around you, but they were too blind to see it, too prideful to acknowledge it, too foolish to protect it. And now that you're gone, the protection left with you. Watch what happens in the spaces you used to occupy. Drama multiplies, chaos intensifies, nothing flows like it used to. People can't explain it, but they can feel it. Something's missing. Someone's absence is affecting everything, and eventually they'll figure out who. They'll trace back every problem to the moment you exited. They'll realize that when you left, peace left. When you withdrew, favor withdrew. When you removed yourself, divine covering removed itself. This is the part that makes them sick, because they didn't just lose you, they lost what came with you, the grace you carried, the wisdom you offered, the energy you brought, the balance you maintained. You were doing things spiritually that they couldn't see, holding space energetically that they didn't understand, maintaining frequencies that kept certain demons at bay. And the second you stepped out, Those demons stepped in. I must interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing to put yourself to the test. If you're still here, that means something, but talk is cheap. Real chosen ones take action. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve divine justice. You put on the headphones, press play, and watch your enemies choke on the rope their own lies created. If you're done consuming and ready to prove you're chosen, start your Destiny Engine for $1 today. Join the Obsidian Inner Order live checks and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. Remember when they laughed. Remember when they celebrated your pain. Remember when they declared you were finished. They're not laughing anymore. Celebration has stopped. And declarations definitely aren't being made about what's unfolding now. Because what's happening to you is defying every prediction they made. You're rising, and not in some subtle, quiet way they can ignore. You're rising loud, visible, undeniable. Doors are opening that shouldn't make sense. Connections are forming that feel impossible. Opportunities are appearing that you didn't even pursue. And every single one is a slap in the face to everyone who wrote you off. Your comeback isn't just elevating you, it's humiliating them, because it's proof they were wrong about everything. They said you were weak, but you're standing stronger than ever. They said you were broken, but you're more whole than you've ever been. They said you'd never recover, but you didn't just recover. You transformed into something they can't touch. Your elevation is their exposure. Your blessing is their burden. Your peace is their punishment. Because every time they see you winning, it reminds them of what they lost when they chose to be your enemy. Watch their faces when they see you now. The forced smiles, the awkward compliments, the passive-aggressive comments disguised as support. They're choking on their own jealousy, suffocating on their regret, drowning in the realization that they had access to greatness and they destroyed it. They were connected to someone heaven was backing, and they betrayed it, and now they're locked out, permanently. Your glow isn't just bothering them, it's torturing them, because it's not just about what you have, it's about what it represents, that you were telling the truth the whole time, that they were wrong the whole time, that their attack didn't stop your destiny, it just delayed their own, and now they're forced to watch you live the life they tried to prevent, while they're stuck in the mess they created. That's not karma, that's poetry. They're seeing people you've helped after you left them, watching doors open for others that could have opened for them, observing blessings fall on people in your circle that they were once part of, and it's torture, because they know that could have been them, should have been them, would have been them, if they hadn't chosen to be your enemy. Their jealousy now isn't just about what you have, it's about what they lost access to when they lost you. Some of them are having full mental breakdowns over this realization. They're literally grieving the version of their life that could have existed if they'd just left you alone, if they'd just minded their business, if they'd just stayed neutral, if they'd just been kind. But they didn't. They chose chaos. They chose cruelty. They chose to participate in your attempted destruction. And now they're living in the ruins of that choice. They're watching you help people who are nothing to you while they're drowning, and you won't throw them a rope. They're seeing you extend grace to strangers that you won't extend to them. They're observing you give energy to random people that you used to give to them for free, and it's driving them insane, because they know why. They know they burned that bridge. They know they contaminated that well. They know they destroyed something they can never get back. The torture isn't just that you moved on, it's how completely you moved on. You're not holding on to resentment, you're not plotting revenge, You're not even angry anymore. You're just done. And being done is worse than being hated, because hate means you still care enough to feel something. Done means you don't feel anything. They don't exist to you anymore. And that void where they used to matter in your life, that's eating them alive. They're trying to provoke reactions now, trying to get your attention in any way possible. Positive, negative, doesn't matter. They just need to know they still affect you somehow, but you're not taking the bait. You're not responding. You're not engaging. And that silence is louder than any words you could say. It's confirmation that they're irrelevant now, that they don't move you, that they don't matter. And for people who invested so much energy in trying to destroy you, being irrelevant is the ultimate defeat. Watch them try to apologize their way out of divine judgment. It's coming. The texts, the calls, the sudden attempts at reconciliation, and they'll sound almost convincing, almost sincere, almost like they actually understand what they did. But you'll know better, because you can feel the fear underneath the words. You can sense the panic driving the apology. You can see that they're not sorry for what they did. They're terrified of what's happening to them because of it. Some of them had warnings they ignored, dreams that disturbed them, gut feelings that screamed stop, moments where something inside them knew this wasn't going to end well. But they pushed past every single warning because they were drunk on their own sense of power. They thought they were invincible. They thought they were clever enough to avoid consequences. They thought your forgiveness would always be available whenever they decided they needed it. They were wrong. Now they're trying to use apologies like spiritual currency, like saying sorry can cancel a cosmic debt. But karma doesn't accept verbal payments. It only accepts energetic ones, and they don't have the energy to pay what they owe. They drained it all attacking you. They spent it all on hate, jealousy, and malice, and now they're spiritually bankrupt trying to write checks their souls can't cash. Watch how selective their memory becomes. Watch how they minimize what they did. Watch how they try to make it seem like it wasn't that serious, like you're overreacting, like time should have healed it by now. They're gaslighting even in their apology, still trying to manipulate, still trying to control the narrative, still trying to escape accountability. And that's exactly why the karma isn't stopping, because they're still operating from the same energy that created the debt in the first place. You don't owe them acceptance. You don't owe them forgiveness. You don't owe them access. You don't owe them anything. Their karma is between them and the universe. Their consequences aren't your concern. Their regret isn't your problem. They made their choice when they chose to violate you. Now you're making yours by choosing to protect your peace. And that's not cold. That's not cruel. That's not unforgiving. That's wisdom. That's boundaries. That's self-preservation. Some doors are meant to stay closed. Some bridges are meant to stay burned. Some people are meant to stay exactly where you left them, in your past, learning lessons they refused to learn when grace was still available. And you walking away from their apology isn't punishment. It's you honoring what heaven already decided, that they don't get access to what they destroyed, that they don't get to re-enter what they contaminated, that they don't get to touch what's been marked sacred. Not anymore. Not ever again. Every ounce of energy they sent toward you is circling back with interest. This is the law of return in high definition, surgical precision, perfect timing. They thought they could weaponize your traumas against you and face no consequences. They studied your weaknesses like a military strategy. They pressed on your wounds like they were buttons. They manipulated your kindness like it was a tool they could use and discard. And they did it all with smiles on their faces, with false concern in their voices, with calculated precision. But energy doesn't forget its source, and it doesn't return gentle. What they sent out as manipulation is coming back as confusion. What they sent out as betrayal is coming back as abandonment. What they sent out as mockery is coming back as humiliation. It's mirroring perfectly Every attack they launched is being experienced by them now. But here's the difference. You had grace to carry what they put on you. They don't. They're not built for the weight they tried to bury you with. You survived it because you were covered, protected, held by something greater than yourself. But they have no such protection. They're experiencing the full force of their own toxicity, with no buffer, no grace, no mercy, just raw, unfiltered consequence. And it's destroying them in ways they can't explain, in ways that feel personal, because it is personal. This is their energy, their intention, their karma, returning home. Watch how they try to blame everyone else. Watch how they make themselves the victim in every story. Watch how they refuse to take accountability, even as their life crumbles around them. They'll blame you, blame circumstances, blame timing, blame other people, blame anything except the real source themselves. And that refusal to own what they did, that's what keeps the karma accelerating, because you can't heal what you won't acknowledge. You can't fix what you won't admit. You can't stop what you refuse to see you started. Meanwhile, you're experiencing the opposite. Everything you sent out is returning too. The grace you gave when they didn't deserve it. The forgiveness you extended when they didn't earn it. The kindness you showed when they were showing you cruelty. The prayers you prayed when they were cursing your name. All of it's coming back. Multiplied. Magnified. Manifesting as blessings they can't block and favor they can't sabotage. This is the real magic. Not that they're falling, but that you're rising while carrying the exact opposite energy they chose. You chose love when they chose hate. You chose peace when they chose chaos. You chose elevation when they chose destruction. And now the universe is showing everyone watching what happens when you plant good seeds, even in contaminated soil. They grow, they flourish, they produce fruit that feeds you while the ones who tried to poison you starve on their own harvest. You're untouchable now, not because you're hiding, because you're operating on a level they can't reach even with a ladder. Your energy repels their frequency automatically. Your spirit rejects their vibration instinctively. Your soul is coded with protections they can't penetrate, even if they tried. And they are trying. You can feel them reaching, trying to get back in, trying to find a crack, trying to regain access. But the door isn't just closed, it's sealed, spiritually, energetically, cosmically. This is their punishment, not what they lost, not what they're experiencing, but watching you become everything they tried to prevent, seeing you access everything they tried to block, witnessing you thrive in spaces they swore you'd never reach. Your success isn't just your blessing, it's their torture, because every win you get is a reminder of what they had and destroyed. Every door that opens for you is proof they were wrong about you. Every level you reach is evidence they never knew who they were dealing with. And you're at peace with all of it. You're not gloating. You're not celebrating their downfall. You're not even watching it happen. You're too busy building your new reality to pay attention to their old chaos. You've moved on so completely that they're not even a thought anymore. They're just a chapter you closed, a lesson you learned, a version of yourself you outgrew. And that indifference, that's what's killing them more than anything else. The universe didn't vindicate you to prove them wrong. It vindicated you to prove you right. To show you that everything you believed about yourself was true, that everything you felt you were called to was real, that everything you knew you were destined for was waiting, and now you're walking in it, living it, breathing it, being it, while they're stuck watching from a distance they can no longer cross. This is what it looks like when heaven backs someone. This is what happens when divine justice moves on behalf of the chosen. This is the result when you stay faithful through the fire and refuse to become what tried to destroy you. You don't just survive, you reign. You don't just recover, you dominate. You don't just win, you transform into something that makes winning look effortless. Let them watch, let them regret, Let them realize, but don't let them back in, because the door that closed when they crossed you, that was heaven making a decision on your behalf. That was divine protection, removing threats you couldn't see. That was cosmic intelligence preserving your future by severing your past. And what heaven closes, no human can reopen. What the divine seals, no apology can unseal. What the universe decides is finished, stays finished. This is your season, your moment, your time, where everything they tried to steal gets restored, where everything they tried to block gets released, where everything they tried to destroy gets resurrected in a form they can't touch, and the pen they thought they were holding to write your story, you took it back, and you're writing an ending they never saw coming, where the chosen one doesn't just survive the attack, the chosen one becomes untouchable because of it. Welcome home to who you've always been, the version of you that was always too powerful for their small thinking, too blessed for their broke mentality, too protected for their pathetic attacks. This is where you were always meant to land, standing in full authority, walking in complete freedom, living in total victory, while everyone who touched you with dirty hands learns the hardest lesson they'll ever face, that karma isn't just real, it's precise, it's patient, and when it finally arrives, it doesn't miss.